First to the cage, in the Tea Time blue corner, Eddie King.
Now, coming out of Combat Spirit MMA, I feel like you're ready for Combat Quest. I mean, I could be wrong. Combat Spirit, Combat Quest, I feel like it goes together. At least I would hope so for Eddie King here, making his kickboxing debut, a tall and lean frame, walking into the 170-pound division.
He is a very long 170.
Almost reminds me of one Vashon Pope, the King, who we used to see come through here, a former champ in Vigilant MMA, has a very similar build to the former champ, Vashon Pope.
Now, it's always difficult to stand up with those tall, long guys.
Right.
I mean, you got to really close the distance so they can't use that length, use that reach advantage.
Right. And we've seen some fights where somebody with this kind of reach advantage goes up against a much shorter opponent, and when that shorter opponent knows how to really push the envelope and getting close, we've seen it work for them.
And so that's
Next up, in the Team Reaper red corner, David Okenka.
That's one of the things too with these different styles of build, these different physiques that you see in these fighters. It's a different 170 for a guy like Eddie King and maybe a smaller, more compact. That's a lot heavier 170 that if you're able to press into your opponent and make them hold your weight, it's going to tire them out, and that's a real smart way to use your difference in build.
And it looks like Okenka is actually not going to have that issue here today. Another tall, lean 170 walking in, looking very, very confident and loose, cornered by a crew of killers, if I will.
Yeah.
I mean, just looking back there, Coach Blaze himself, Crafton Wallace, Marcellus Wallace, Malcolm Wallace, former champions behind him in his corner, Inferno MMA. I was just about to say current champions, past champions in his corner, and hell, I might as well say it, future champions backing him, walking in today out of Inferno MMA, looking like he is ready to go.
You know Coach Crafton is going to have him prepared.
Absolutely.
That's one thing we know about Inferno and Crafton Wallace is he has his guys ready to go. There's not going to be a lot of flaws in their game.
Absolutely.
He's going to make sure they're here prepared, and because he takes pride in them representing him.
Absolutely.
He's not going to put his name on somebody that he doesn't think can go.
Absolutely.
So, I fully expect him to be ready for this fight.
And I mean, when you're at a gym who you have that head coach and Coach Blaze Crafton Wallace, but you also have such deep Muay Thai kickboxing experience from Marcellus.
Fighting out of the Tea Time blue corner, making his kickboxing debut. Fighting out of Combat Spirit MMA, give it up for Eddie King! And in the Team Reaper red corner, also making his kickboxing debut, fighting out of Inferno MMA in Naples, Florida. Give it up for David Okenka! This is a Muay Thai kickboxing bout at 172 pounds.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, both fighters have entered the cage. They're going to receive their final instructions as the cage doors are sealed and locked up. And we are going to be ready to go.
Okay.
So we're not going to see any of that pressing your different physique build on.
No. These are two very, very similarly built fighters. Almost exactly the same height, maybe an inch to King if I had to guess. But very, very evenly matched up, at least physically of what we're looking at. Records matching up. I mean, unbelievable matchmaking from Brandon here at Vigilant. Opening up right away with some heat from both ends. Okenka landing a couple nice shots in that exchange, but a sloppy Superman from King somewhat lands.
It looks like King still might have a reach advantage on Okenka.
Slightly. Oh. And that was a beautifully timed kick there, actually, from King to get the trip on Okenka.
We see some nerves in
Another nice
Okenka,
kick.
I think, right now.
Nice right hand follows up from Okenka there, and that might have rocked King a little bit, but King giving the pressure back, doing a nice job getting that low kick. getting some knees from each side in the clinch here. Both sides firing off in the clinch, going for those knees, but Okenka keeps firing off with that right underhook. Looks like we're going to get a break here from our official. Nice job. Nice stiff left there from Okenka. Nice one came forward there from King.
Shout out to our ref. He's really making sure his presence is known, making these fighters listen to his calls.
No, absolutely.
He's not afraid to put himself in between the action.
Oh, and King, both sides wobbling the other in this exchange. And Okenka, big right hand. Big right hand drops King down to a knee. Looks like we're going to get a standing 8 count.
And shout out to the guys that put this cage together. He would have went through it if they didn't put it together as well as they did.
I wonder who did all that. Nice left hand lands there from Okenka.
Whoa.
Oh, and right at the end of the round, it looks like it was a slip. That did not count as a knockdown. There was a slip here at the end of the round, but right now we do have 1 knockdown to none for Okenka, and very, very solid fundamentals as we expected to come from Okenka out of Inferno. But, I mean, so far a pretty even match bout. I mean, we saw Okenka start to apply the pressure a little bit more in the beginning of the round. It seemed like he was kind of commanding the pace. But at one point, we saw both of these fighters actually wobbled at the same time.
That was an exciting round.
No, absolutely.
Those guys were ready to come out here and really throw.
Here we saw fighters get tied up a little bit, but Okenka kept firing off and finding homes for all those shots. And King tried to fire back, but nothing was really landing cleanly for King in that round. He really needs to try to see if he can open up that distance a little bit more and try to use that slight reach advantage that he has.
He had a couple slips in there that he was able to really exploit that reach advantage that he has. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 2 or 3 inch reach advantage that he has, and he was able to exploit it 1 or 2 times, and he might need to just focus on that, and I'm sure his coach is telling him that. That's one of the things with these debuting fighters, these fresh fighters, is that it was a little clunky at times because they're still trying to get their feet under themselves while they're getting feet thrown at them. You know what I'm saying? So there's some of that clunkiness there. But that's too expected with these new fighters.
And props to the official for getting the corner out of the cage. They seem to have overstayed their welcome right now. I don't know if it looks like they're getting a count for it. And I'm not sure what the delay was here, but I think King was debating on leaving this bout. It didn't seem like he was shaking his head no. He looked like he did not want to compete. Solid right hand lands and wobbles King. That's it. That's the end of the bout.
That's it.
And I thought I saw King trying to. I mean, what a showcase there from Okenka. I mean, I really didn't expect anything less with the fighter coming out of Inferno MMA. I mean, such a solid job. The fundamentals were there. Well-placed punches, great timing. I mean, you can't ask for much more out of a debut kickboxer. And, I mean, it seemed like, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Eddie King just didn't seem in this fight. Mentally, he seemed to be somewhere else because he was throwing hands, but when I saw him, when I looked at him, it didn't look like he was in this fight. It didn't look like he wanted to be here. But it looked like Okenka did. And Okenka wanted to be here.
That's one thing about Inferno is they're going to get you prepared mentally for these fights as well.
Absolutely.
A lot of guys, like we've said before, want to come into this game and think that they can do it just from watching a couple shows and seeing some videos. And once you get hit, it's a whole different world.
You know, the great Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and that's exactly what happened here today. But either way, what a showcase here from David Okenka. A great way for Team Inferno to kick their day off. Already 1-0. Let's see if they can keep it rolling later on into the night. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, let's send you up now to Lewis from the Hit Life for the official announcement of our winner, David Okenka.
The referee called a stop to this match in the second round. Your winner by TKO, David Okenka.